So, Mark, out of the two movies we watched this weekend, which one were you the most excited for?
I was most excited for neither, honestly. If it was on some kind of scale, it probably would have to be Barbie just because of how much you talked about it. But I was not particularly looking forward to either of these movies that much. I don't care about Barbie, and I don't really care about history or bombs.
Mark, you didn't even really know who Oppenheimer was, right, before this?
No, not really, no.
I feel like a lot of people didn't really know, like, that.
Yeah, so them learning it for the first time with this movie makes them feel like they're, like, super intelligent, little, like, nerd emojis.
They're all
little
cultured
funny
now.
figure. Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of is that that fucking annoying ass TikTok trend where it's somebody with like glasses and then it goes poof when it cuts to like the nerd emoji.
yeah, exactly, yeah. Why, what were you more excited for? I think I know the answer, but you like Christopher Nolan a lot, too.
I am a very big Christopher Nolan fan. I like a lot of his films. I also really, really like Barbie and grew up with Barbie. So I was more excited for Barbie, not because it's Barbie, but more because of like the high production value.
And so which of these two movies, after seeing them, do you think met your expectations more?
More?
Which did you come out of more satisfied?
I guess, I mean, it's so hard to like, this is something Mark and I had like talked about after we'd seen both movies, where it's like you can't really compare the two.
Yeah.
Because you just can't.
They're just different
you
movies.
you just can't. But also at the same time, experience wise, I feel like you also can't compare because it's two different
like
moods.
a fucking fast-paced, like mile-a-minute comedy, and the other is
a very
mile-a-minute serious, depressing movie about
drama.
About the morality of creating a weapon that could destroy the world.
I would say that I had a more obviously fun experience at Barbie, but I would also say that I felt more fulfilled with Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer, I think, just is the better movie. Not to say that it doesn't have its issues.
Clearly, you see which side we're on.
Yeah, I think we're on the same
teasing.
side, kind of.
We are on the same side.
Which is not usual. Veronica and I usually disagree on these things a lot.
Yeah, we actually... yeah, you guys know.
But with Oppenheimer, yeah, it's a thing where I can sit down and acknowledge that's a better movie than Barbie. Barbie was a lot of fun, and I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. There were a lot of moments where I did like, I never laughed, but I always like, there were parts where I'd smile to myself and be like, that's funny.
Anytime Alan came on, Mark was like, you go, Alan.
Yeah, is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I liked all that stuff. I liked the humor a lot. I thought it was written pretty well as a comedy.
Yeah. It was like the Lego movie, but Barbie.
Barbie was really fun. It was written really well as a comedy. I started like losing interest in it once the third act started hitting, and it became more about mind control.
Yeah, I would say Barbie was really good up until they introduced America Ferrera as the main protagonist.
Yeah, I didn't hate it or anything. I
didn't hate her. I didn't even really dislike her.
I just thought that the whole brain control thing is when it became like, okay, this isn't about Barbie, the Margot Robbie character now. This is about Barbie as a symbol for women.
Which they say that in the beginning, and they say like that's why they're like, oh, we're all Barbie.
But it's such a personal story up until then about Barbie like looking for the fucking human who is connected to her like trauma. But then it becomes like, no, this is about women and men. This is about the patriarchy, which it was, but it wasn't about.
See, that's the thing. This movie was a very pro-female movie, which that doesn't bother me. What bothered me was men control the world, right? That's like the trope. Men control the world. Ken comes to the real world and realizes that's men rule it all. But it's all really like unrealistic.
Yeah, it's all portrayed through like, there are certain parts where it's like, okay, this is meant to be cartoony. Like with Ken, it's a thing where when he goes to the real world, he'll do stuff like he'll go up to like a guy and be like, you guys are not doing the patriarchy anymore. And he's like, oh, we are, but we're just trying to like hide it.
Yeah, we're
better.
doing it secretly.
And it's like, that's okay. That's a joke. That's like a joke, whatever. Like there are plenty of movies, like guy movies, where like they shit on women a lot and they have women be like nagging bitches or, you know, like white chicks.
There's a lot of tropes. Obviously, like in comedy movies specifically, I would say there are a lot of tropes. The woman is like a bimbo, or the woman is like, or a woman is dumb, or like they're ditzy
Yeah.
blonde.
Or like look at the Transformers movies where the woman is always like
the sex symbol
to be objectified in some
Yeah.
way. So it's like a Barbie movie existing that is having a very pro-feminism thing is like
It makes
cool,
sense.
makes sense. Like that's fair, and I thought it was a good movie.
See, but my issue was there's a whole part where America Ferrera's character has this big speech where they find out all the Barbies are brainwashed. It's really interesting because like me and Mark both had the same reaction where like the Kens go back to the Barbie land and they rule the whole Barbie land while Margot Robbie is gone. Which
they
by the way,
established the patriarchy.
which by the way doesn't make any sense considering Margot Robbie is just stereotypical Barbie. She's not even Barbie president. But they have this big long speech. America Ferrera has this big long speech where she's just pretty much like telling us how, oh, you know, like if you're a woman, you have to be skinny, but you can't say you want to be skinny, and you have to be like the perfect parent, but you also can't complain that you have kids, and you can't do this and you can't do that. And it's so hard being a woman, and men don't deal with this. But a lot of the stuff that she lists off are things that men do deal with.
I don't think she specifically says men don't deal with this, but it leaves you with that feeling of like
It wasn't men don't deal with this, is us women have to deal with all of this.
yeah, and it is that thing of like, well, men do too, but then it's like in your Barbie movie, do you want to have to like put an asterisk towards everything, every like
Yeah.
line, and be like, but men do too.
Do you want the
you know?
inclusivity?
So it's I'm personally fine if a Barbie movie wants to completely focus on the women, and if they want to present men in that stereotypical way, I'm kind of fine with that as long as it's funny, which it is.
Which it was, yeah.
But I know if the movie was not as like funny and the writing wasn't as fast paced and quick, I probably would have been annoyed by it very quick.
See, the only
Just 'cause
reason
I don't like that kind of preachy stuff in movies anyway.
that's it. That's literally it. Is I didn't like that it was so like on the nose about all this stuff.
and the message it has is really good. Like what it's trying to say is good.
Yeah.
It's not the message itself. It's that like it feels like the movie has this really consistent like pacing up until this one part where it just stops. And just stops to have this big long speech.
monologue, and then this big montage.
And the speech is what saves the day at the end. Like it's the
it's
weapon
the
they
girl.
use against
the Kens.
yeah, her like she goes to all the women and is like it says like stereotypical like
It's literally
stuff
like
towards women.
Men don't deserve this. You know you deserve better. Some bullshit.
something like that.
Some woman empowerment thing.
And
where
I'm like,
it's
that's so easy. That's such an easy way to solve things.
But
That's
you
like, it's
have
a
to
Barbie
also
movie.
think about what was the issue. Barbie was turning real. Barbie was no longer being perfect. That was the issue.
That's what I'm saying. It abandons
Yeah.
the whole Margot Robbie Barbie thing to talk about Barbie as a symbol for women.
I suppose her being perfect is like the idea of being perfect as a woman.
Yeah, yeah.
And then like her coming to the real world and like understanding what emotions are and
But, like,
figuring out
nobody's
how things
perfect,
are
yeah.
themselves. Yeah. She accepts that she is no longer perfect or no longer sees herself as perfect. And she flourishes in the new feelings that she is discovering and is no longer fearful, is more like optimistic about it, which that's like that is a great thing as a whole
Yeah.
for the film.
But that's kind of abandoned at a certain point.
It's like abandoned, but then it's also like brought back at the end.
Um,
I think just to tie it all together.
yeah, you think it's gonna be a movie kind of like Enchanted by the ending, with the way the ending is, where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, the fictional woman like who doesn't know how to act in the real world, doing normal real stuff with a real family. But then they have stuff like when they go back to the Barbie land and it's overthrown by Kens. We talked about this too, where they're all like, "How could you guys be doing this? This is horrible. We'll get you out of this." And all the women are like, "No, we actually like this."
Yeah, we like being
And-
subservient to men.
And in my head, they were like, "Oh, it's like I gotta take a break." And in my head, I was like, "Wow, are they really gonna try like have a discussion about this, like a somewhat
See,
nuanced take
that would have been so much better.
of being like, well, some women prefer
Because
it."
yeah, some women prefer it. And on the other hand, it's like, why would that make you less of a woman?
Yeah, just because you would want that.
Just
for
because you would want to be like a housewife, or just because you would want to be like, like attached to a man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's this weird thing where it's like you clearly have like an idea here, but you chose the more simple option. Where
Simple and
my like.
safe.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
safe. It's kind of my issue with it, not the message itself, because there's nothing really wrong with the message.
No, it's not.
Um,
the movie itself, I'd give it a 9.5.
It is just that like I get to that part and I'm like, okay, we're not talking about the movie anymore. We're talking about real life.
Yeah.
Um,
And they kind of do that thing where they dip between the two.
yeah, and they try to make it seem so like impactful. Like this is groundbreaking that women have to deal with
But it's-
hardships, and it's like,
Not.
yeah.
But at the same time, it's not.
yeah,
You know,
They have such a comedic approach to it, but then at that point, it feels like the whole tone is changing.
See, that's the thing throughout the entirety of the movie is they touch on these topics in a comedic way and in a serious way. So on one hand, you're kind of like, oh, okay, this is the part where they really acknowledge it, which is like the America Ferrera speech or the final dialogue with like dead CEO Barbie maker. Yeah. I feel like you don't know who you're supposed to feel for. Are you supposed to feel for Barbie? Or are you supposed to feel for Ken? Are you supposed to feel for America Ferrera? Or are you supposed to feel for all of them?
They try to make you feel bad for everyone in a way, and they try to uplift everyone at the end, but to where they're like solutions or their like culmination of their character aren't related to another character. Like Barbie can't be with Ken. Ken can't be with Barbie.
They all need to be singular and make decisions for themselves.
Yeah, that's really the whole theme is that everyone should live their life and not like. Not have to fall into like stereotypical perceptions of themselves is what I took from it, I guess. Where Ken's like, I'm supposed to be with someone like that, you know, like he puts all his self-worth in her in a way.
See, but I think it's so annoying because I understand Barbie can make a decision for herself to not want to be with Ken. Sure, fine. The little girl in me is like, that sucks. I always liked seeing Barbie and Ken together.
Like Toy Story 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that thing of like a woman can't be attached to a man or else she's not really like a fully empowered woman. But
exactly.
It's like, but there are women who can feel empowered and still like be with a guy.
You know? And it's the same thing where it's like in her little like speech to the Barbies at the Weird Barbie's house or whatever, where she's just kind of like, you know, I have to be a mother and I can't complain about my kid and I have to like be perfect in this way or perfect at that way. And it's like, well, men deal with that shit too. There are single fathers out there.
Yeah, but then it comes back to that thing of like, should there be an asterisk in the Barbie movie to be like, but men too?
I know. It's like, then the other argument is it's not for them. It's for us.
Yeah, but also it's a movie for women where the men get all the best lines and the funniest jokes and everyone is quoting the man.
The men are the best characters.
And they're trying to say Michael Cera is like an honorary woman so they can like be like, well, we got that one. It's like, no, it's all man.
You know what's so funny about that is Alan, the actual doll, is married to Midge, the pregnant bitch doll.
Yeah, the discontinued.
Both of them, like, Midge and Alan were like boyfriend and girlfriend, and then they like, and she was pregnant or whatever, and then they get married. It's like established in canonic Mattel lore that they're like married. So it's just kind of, they just like dumped that whole thing. There's like some things they like pick and chose, but it makes it funnier. Yeah, it just makes it funnier.
That's a very funny movie. I would recommend people watch it, which they already are.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. I just thought by the third act, it's kind of like. You're kind of stopping trying to be funny right now to try and be serious and tell a message.
You know what it is also is they establish different things at different points throughout the movie, and like for instance, like the Will Ferrell Mattel CEOs segments of it, unnecessary, wasn't really needed.
In the grand scheme of things, yeah, they're unnecessary.
They're unnecessary. They didn't do anything. It was a red herring like antagonist. And it's really weird because it's like, oh, Barbie goes to the real life, but then she goes to the CEOs and they're like, oh, we're going to put you back in the box and we'll send you back to Barbie land. And she ends up like getting scared, running away and being like, I got to go back to Barbie land, and goes back anyways.
And the Mattel CEOs chase after her even though they want her to be back in Barbie land.
And they come back and they hear out like
the Barbie sides and they cry.
America Ferrera being like, we should make ordinary Barbie.
But then it's a thing of like, when they get in the CEO room, and they start asking questions about the logic, they very quickly shut it down by saying, none of it makes sense, and that's all fine. That's where I'm like, okay, that's all you need to do, and I will accept your dumb logic.
They set their standards.
Yeah.
That is something where it's like, the Barbie movie respects you as an audience member, except for the America Ferrera speech.
Yeah, but that I feel like that was almost like you're gonna get that in a minute.
You have to. It's all building up to that moment. She has to have her speech. I get it.
Yeah.
It's like all the stuff that I'm like bitching about. It's like none of it was a really big deal to me.
No,
because I still really really like the movie a lot, and it's still really really fun.
Yeah, I feel like that part kind of like dragged for me. It made me kind of like bored.
But like, oh my God, how it looked. It looked
really good.
Beautiful. Oh,
they spent such little time in the
real world.
In the real world, less than I thought.
Which I like.
Yeah,
I like that they spent less time in the real world.
Yeah, they do kind of spend a lot of the movie on their one set.
The real world is just like the one perspective part of the movie.
Yeah, it's like really just the second act.
Yeah.
Until like the halfway of the second act where it just goes back.
She just goes back. Yeah.
But then that leads to like a really lackluster conclusion I was talking to you about earlier, where it's like they do the thing where it's like, okay, the Kens will be in office in 2 days from now when we all do the votes, and then the Barbies just like devise this whole plan to brainwash or to unbrainwash all the Barbies, to not make them subservient to the man, and then they'll have the Kens pit against each other, so they'll be too distracted to vote. And it just reminds me of like generic sitcom plots, like the Simpsons episode where they do just that.
See,
and it's always just like, oh, weren't we supposed to vote today? And then they're like, and then it cuts to like a room of the winners like cheering, you know?
See, like I was telling Mark during like the middle of the movie, I was like, this literally just feels like a Fairly Odd Parents episode. Like this is just like, you know
It's
what I
all
mean?
dumb,
It's
like
so
humor, yeah, some self
and it's like
humor.
sitcom-y type problems,
Which I liked. At that ending, they kept building it up, and I was like, really, the solution was that easy? Just fucking not have them vote on the day you had to vote them into Congress?
But also, it's another thing where it's kind of just like Kens were subservient to the Barbies. They were made to like love Barbie.
yeah.
You know, they find their patriarchy. They establish the patriarchy. They take over. Barbies like get brainwashed. Then all of a sudden they stop getting brainwashed. Yeah, Barbies rule the land again or whatever. But the Kens are still subservient.
They're just cool with it by the end.
yeah, they're just cool with it. That's it.
Yeah.
It's like,
Which
oh, well,
is-
we're buds.
But that's the thing, is that's all implied. They don't have a single scene
No.
that kind of establishes it. The movie just kind of ends.
Well, they have like a couple of lines with the Shang-Chi actor.
yeah, where they imply like things are just gonna go back to normal.
where they'll just be buddies.
But they don't show that obviously because
No.
they know it like kind of stomps on the whole equality thing where it's like,
That's
no,
the thing.
the Kens can just be like subservient again.
That's the thing is like, it's like, is it about equality or
Or-
is it not about equality?
Where it's like, yeah, these Kens have no business in the patriarchy in the real world, so should they be punished because
in
they're men in Barbie land?
just because they're men.
Yeah,
You know what I
then it
mean?
gets muddied. Then you're like, oh, who cares? It's a fucking
Barbie
about
movie.
Barbie movie. But then it's like, well, they're trying to take it seriously at times.
I know that's my
And it's
problem
just-
with
it's
it.
like a paradox.
That's
you
what it
know?
is. That's what my biggest problem with it is that is it about like is it like the pure feminist idea where it's like equality for all genders, or is it just the feminist idea that like go
It's
women?
like, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it kind of plays both sides.
It does.
And everyone saw what they wanted to out of it. And then the
Yeah.
daughters had the mother plot, and the mothers had the daughter plot. And it's just fucking
Yeah.
whatever.
I
It
will
was good,
say though, this movie is more for the mothers and the daughters.
Yeah,
That's-
than
than-
me and Kellen.
Yeah. Then no,
Oh,
Callan.
Callan
Yeah.
loved
No,
it.
just you.
Barbie, I'd give it like a 7.5. Go see it.
Seven
it
and
was
a
very
half,
good.
huh?
Yeah, I don't care about Barbie like you.
Mediocre a little bit.
No, it's good.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
Barbie's good.
Yeah, I said that. I never tried to hide it.
I know. I just like hearing you say Barbie's good. Barbie, 9.5.
So Oppenheimer. So we went with Kellen and Jean. We saw both Barbie and
Yeah, we did a 2-day feature.
yeah, and coming out on Twitter all the days for Oppenheimer, I kept seeing people be like, that movie really depressed me. I did not want to see Barbie after it, so I'm really glad I saw
We'd-
Barbie first.
We would hear rumors where it's like, yeah, you have to see Barbie first because Oppenheimer's ending is so depressing, it'll ruin Barbie for you.
Yeah, and these people going like, I'm crying after Oppenheimer. I can't, that changed my whole worldview. And we left the movie theater, and I walked over to Veronica and Jean, and I was like, can you believe people are
Think
saying
this
that
is
movie's imagine
so-
walking out of that and crying and being depressed. Kellen came out looking all depressed, and I was like, damn, this is affecting people.
Yeah, and it's
It-
surprising because his response is, this is a serious movie.
Yeah.
Which my thought is, this would have been serious 50 years ago.
I'm like, so it's Sign to Freedom, but doesn't
Yeah.
sound like shit.
We were supposed to make an episode about Sound of Freedom, but then my brother got into a car accident, so I was like, oh, fuck that. I gotta go home to my
Yeah.
parents.
He died, by the way.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
So, yeah, we saw Sign of Freedom, and it's really terrible. Don't see it. Don't buy into the fucking TikTok rumors.
Dude.
It's dreadful.
Okay, yeah, we'll condense this into a short snippet, but yeah, I was doing my hair and watching TikTok, and someone was talking about Sound of Freedom.
So my fiance and I just watched the movie Sound of Freedom that exposes sex traffickers. And do you want to tell them what happened in the movie theater?
All right, AMC, I don't know what's going on here, but first off, the AC was out, when we went to watch the movie. And I'd seen someone else post something too that also saw it at AMC, and their AC was out. And, as soon as we walked into the theater, it was hot as heck.
I
and the
literally
AC
brought a
was out.
sweatshirt and I was like sweating.
And then we realized, it took us a while to actually realize it, but they didn't turn the lights off.
Literally had the lights
They
on.
had the lights on the entire movie.
Who does that?
Like,
They don't want you to see this movie.
they were trying to make it, not enjoyable.
AMC does not want you to see this movie. They want you to leave the theater. They turned off the lights and they fucked up the
They
projector.
didn't turn on the SE.
They didn't. They purposely turned off the AC so we could all roast in there. And so I was like, Mark, we gotta see this movie. We gotta see if this happens.
So we walked all the way down to the Burbank Theater, and we bought tickets
bought
for
tickets.
Sound of Freedom, and it was the most boring fucking
It was
dog shit,
literally just like
shocker film ever.
What was shocking in that movie was a guy crying, holding his mouth, looking at a computer screen,
That
and
we
you,
don't see.
and you don't see any. Obviously, you're not going to see
Obviously, they
anything.
couldn't
Yeah,
show it. It's a movie about child trafficking.
yeah. So you're not going to see anything.
You're
But
not
this
gonna see
guy,
anything.
becomes like an action hero and bursts into a cartel thing and like rescues the little girl and brings her back to her family. And
Yeah, and I see like videos of people being like, "This is why they don't want you watching Sound of
Hollywood
Freedom."
is trying to block Sound of Freedom.
And it's like a video of one of the girls crying.
If you haven't gone and seen The Sound of Freedom, please do. Please go see it and bring as many people as you can.
Just standing there crying, and I'm like,
Oh,
a kid fucking stubs their toe and starts crying, you know? Like, that's nothing new.
See, my argument here is like when you go on crazyshit.com and you see 22 people having a shittier day than you.
People being hit by cars.
Yeah,
the
getting
internet
run over.
desensitizes you. It's made for those mothers and like
Well, it's a
grandmother.
Christian.
It's a Christian
It's
movie.
a Christian Blumhouse.
It feels like a Lifetime movie. And so, yeah, old women watching that who don't know about all these, like, don't watch ISIS beheading videos in their free time like we do. They're gonna hear just like the dreaded P word. And they're gonna be like, "Oh my god, this
Oh
is
my
serious.
This is actually
This is
awful.
lethal." Yeah, so we watched it and it was dog shit. It was boring.
Yeah, it was boring and it was lame.
It was
and
long and
it
the,
was-
the main character was
man,
fucking.
there were so
stupid.
many. There were so many things that we found wrong with it. We were like
But
listing it.
But now I can't even remember
Yeah,
a thing about
I
it.
could give two fucks about it because guess what?
Oppenheimer.
Okay, Oppenheimer. Give me your rating. I want to know your rating first, and then we'll go into it.
Have old Saw come in right here, like
A little jigsaw.
down here, and then have him like with a rope attached to the back of his tricycle, and it's pulling in a big 3D number.
Okay, what's the number?
And the number is an 8.
An 8.
Yes, Oppenheimer is one of those things like Asteroid City where I'm like, that's a good movie. I might not have like personally loved it, but it's a good movie. It's well put together. There were a lot of choices that people might have complained about that I was like, fuck yes, like the pacing. Okay, so
Yeah, I liked how it was cut.
before we watched it, we saw Yurik Salad Bar on Twitter saying something like,
He
"Oh,
was-
the editing was so fast paced. They say all these big like epic lines,
Well,
but they're not giving enough weight."
His issue was that there were important lines being said that are like specific to the plot, but how it was edited, it was too much where it would take away
It
that
doesn't give
kind of
them impact,
validity.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I watched the movie. I was like, oh no, like it's just gonna be like nothing. But then I watched it, and no, it's just edited like. When a movie starts and there's like the big establishing shot and they fucking zoom in on the characters, and then like the final shot, like the character says something and it holds for like 5 seconds. It's a cut, all cut. It's like there was not a moment of like pause in this movie. Every character is always talking, and I liked that.
I liked it too because it really, honestly, everything that the character said was everything you pretty much needed to know about the scene and
Everything
the situation.
moved the plot along too.
Yeah.
There was no fluff. It was a 3-hour movie that felt like a 2-hour movie, like Beau is Afraid, which is we
is
watched Beau is
great.
Afraid too. We liked it a lot. I loved that it was edited super fast, so I
too.
didn't have to like concoct. We had to like stand up all day too.
Oh, I forgot. We went to the water park. So, okay, the day of Barbie, we all decided to go to the water park after the Fairly Odd Parents podcast and your video came out. Go to Hurricane Harbor, spend like 4 hours there, go back home, get some dinner, get dressed, go to see Barbie.
Come home, sleep.
Come home at
get
like
up.
2. No, come home. Callan hangs out till 2 a.m.
Yeah,
Then we go to sleep, and then we have to wake up.
I woke up at like 7. And then we stayed up for a little bit, and then we had to go watch Oppenheimer. Came home, it was like 1 a.m.
And like our bodies. It was we were sunburnt and exhausted from the water
That's
park.
right, yeah. But yeah, so I was like, falling asleep all day. And a couple times during Oppenheimer, I could feel myself falling asleep. But I'm surprised I haven't, because I fell asleep during the bad guys. I fell asleep. We saw it twice. I fell asleep during.
You fell asleep both times.
Yeah, but I saw the bits that I missed each time. What else did I sleep through? The Northern Man.
Oh, the Northman.
The Northman. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
close. The Northern
Northern
Man.
Man.
I don't know if it's because I'm getting older at the ripe old age of 21, but I just feel like I was telling Veronica this recently. As a kid, I was like, "Fuck sleeping. There's so much day to be had." But I'm like, I love sleeping.
I've been ever since the water park, dude.
You've been dying.
I've
Yeah.
been dying. Like I feel like my body. You know what it was? When we went to the water park, Didn't have any water.
We didn't have any water.
We had like half of a water bottle that me, Mark, and Nikki Nikki had her own water, but me, and Jane shared.
Yeah.
And then
All the
no
lines
food.
were like an hour long for food, and they're fucking expensive. So we're not gonna buy that.
$16 for a hot dog.
So we woke up and we didn't eat anything until like 7 when we got home.
Yeah.
All
And
day at the water
sunburnt.
park. Yeah. But yeah, Oppenheimer. What did you think? First impressions? Because I know you were kind of mixed on it whenever we first saw it.
So my first impressions initially were, I was like, wow, it was so beautifully put together. Like I said, everything that every character says in each scene is important and vital and like moves the plot along. There were certain things that I felt like were inaccurate and that kind of bothered me, but it wasn't that bad where it's kind of like the I am the destroyer of all worlds line. That's said in an interview that he like,
yeah,
you know,
the quote
he's
is wrong. He actually said, "I'm Jeff the Killer, destroyer of all worlds." That's the real quote. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
But you see, you made me lose my thought.
I am the killer of all.
That whole line, he has a whole interview where he's talking about that. Like there's a footage out here. I'll put it up right here.
I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
Okay, he does not say this while he's fucking his girl. Obviously, they take certain liberties with like his like what actually happens and use it to advance the plot and all this stuff. And it's like, oh, this woman Tatlock, you know, this was like this woman that his close friends would say was his true love, and she was someone who like kind of abused him a little bit. She was a little bit crazy, but then at the same time, like she was going through her own struggles herself with like her sexuality and everything, and he just, you know, met this other woman and got her pregnant. And so whatever, like they're like that kind of stuff. Like I feel like if you're gonna introduce Florence Pugh, Tadlock, the character or whatever, you're gonna introduce her and you're gonna have her in his story because it's what actually happens. And I feel like you should do it a little bit more appropriately. But what I will say is, did you notice in the scene where they established she killed herself, she died, that they point out that her signature, she never had a signature for her letter,
That's right. Yeah.
right? And in certain shots, you see her like dunking her head in underwater, right?
Yeah,
But then
I remember
other
that.
shots, you see hands in the water.
Oh, so implies she was killed.
So it's implied that she had maybe was killed by her father, or her father finds her, but that maybe
Yeah.
she was killed, or she killed herself. It's never like it's not confirmed, but apparently that was like a very big question.
That's
for
good they didn't
him.
bring that up. That would have been confusing. That's the thing is the fucking while saying the line thing. I feel like the rest of the movie is so kind of grinded and like not loud and bombastic for, you know, the posters and all give it off to be, that it kind of like every once in a while it earns that little like, okay, you can tweak that for cinematic
Yeah.
effect.
That's what I'm saying. Where it's like, oh, it annoyed me, but it didn't annoy me enough to where it's like
So it's like, oh,
ruin
it's
the
not
movie or
historically
anything.
accurate.
Yeah,
It's like,
like
oh,
I'm
you're
not
watching a movie.
like people getting upset that there's 50 flags or 50 stars on the flag rather than
it's like,
48.
that's
It's
not
like,
gonna ruin the movie for me. I don't
No,
care.
yeah, I didn't even notice until it was pointed out to me.
I only noticed it while we were watching because I saw it beforehand on Twitter. Do you think the bomb going off was worth it? I feel like
like in
us-
history? Are we talking about like
no,
history
us
right now?
seeing it in the movie because
Oh.
it doesn't happen. I thought it was gonna be like well lead into the movie. It was kind of just like
It happens like a third into it.
it was like
No,
it was like
two-thirds.
it was like the 3/4 mark. Yeah, the bomb happens and there's still so much movie left. Do you think the
Yeah.
bomb left a big enough impact? Because my first reaction is to say like no, but then I think back and I'm like, that was a cool moment sitting in the theater and then like
was
you don't know
silent,
when
you
it's gonna
see
go
it.
off.
Yeah.
I thought that was like that like it didn't spook me or anything, but it was like,
I
oh, I
think-
felt that.
Visually, it was impactful.
Yeah, and audibly in the theater.
Yes, it was extraordinarily loud when it hit. But at the same time, I guess when you know how history plays out,
There's
seeing
no
the
twists or
seeing the
turns.
test explosion doesn't come off as impactful as seeing what actually happened.
That's something. I saw a lot of people mad because there was no like
There was
Japanese
no
people.
Nagasaki or Hiroshima like
You didn't see
explosions.
it. And-
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't like the excuse of like, well, that was intentional. But I feel like it's one of the only cases where it's like that was intentional to show that Oppenheimer made this thing and he didn't even get to see the.
He didn't even get to see it happen. He didn't even know when it was going to happen.
Yeah, he was on the while the bombs are going off, he's sitting like at home waiting for the radio to like come on and like hear what's going on. You know, so I thought that was really like.
It's
Clever.
done well.
Yeah, it's impactful to like, and it makes you realize like
that he had no control, that they
like-
took his weapon, and that he
Yeah.
has no, he does not get a say anymore.
like footage of that is so readily available online, but like, and so we kind of like know what that would look like, and we've seen the explosions and all before, but at the
Yeah.
time, it was probably like
a big
what
fucking
the fuck.
deal,
So
dude.
it kind of puts you in those shoes
It's
of
the
like
first
not
time
knowing.
anything like this had ever happened.
that's what I'm
so
saying,
it's like
so-
nobody fucking expected this shit.
Yeah, so that was a good decision, I think. But then you see people like kind of giving the other like credits towards stuff that doesn't deserve it, where it's like, oh, it was intentional though. And it's like, well, maybe it was a bad intention.
You can go without seeing like a bunch of people getting murdered, you know?
Yeah, like, why do you want to
Like,
see that? Why do you want to see? Like, yeah, it's their attempt at getting like some kind of shock value of like,
Yes.
holy shit, did you see the moment where the fucking bomb melted the guy's face?
I feel like, yeah, people want like that Saving Private Ryan moment where
It's all gruesome.
everybody saw the first time they like the D-Day, like, you know, like moment. Everybody wants that moment again.
But I think that's so much more impactful in this movie that they don't show that. They don't show the moment where it goes off.
I would agree. I know that there are a lot of segments where it shows like Oppenheimer like going through like anxiety attacks, like he's like visualizing everybody's face getting melted off, like as if the explosion's happening before him and to his peers and loved ones and stuff. Like I know that they display that kind of stuff, but like apparently, you know, because I did my research, you know, he had suffered with depression for an extremely long time. They don't really touch on that. They only just kind of show him kind of like, oh, he's unable to sleep because his mind is always thinking about the electrons and neurons and stars and
Yeah.
and radio waves and stuff. Like
He's
right?
always having a constant brain blast.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I wish he said that when the bomb went off.
Brain blast. Got a blast.
He gets on a little Goddard and drives away.
Oh, with his
He,
wife.
he drops the bomb from Goddard. And little Goddard,
Goddard
spot
shits it
him,
out.
Like, yeah, exactly. He's holding on to
So
the
I feel like also like there are some things that were kind of wrong. Like for instance, like him talking about poisoning the apple with
Yeah.
cyanide. He actually did get in trouble for that, and he almost got like convicted, but the teacher didn't press charges.
Oh, did he?
Yes, and the charges got dropped. But he ended up having to do psychiatric counseling
Why
after
did
it for a
he
year.
not get in trouble?
The teacher didn't. He was like,
Why didn't the teacher press charges?
I think because I think it was because he knew he was like a brilliant student or something.
Oh,
But he had admitted that it was because he was a bit jealous and like felt inferior. So there's some like inconsistencies,
but
but
I don't
it
care.
didn't matter. It didn't matter.
yeah. It's that like, what do you want? Historically accurate or like a good movie?
Even then, that movie
Yeah,
was
that's what I'm
very
saying.
historically accurate.
If I can watch that movie and be like that movie is like really entertaining and good, and then later on after watching it, I find out like, oh, that scene there, that didn't actually happen. I'm like, so it was
yeah,
still good.
it
in the
wouldn't have
movie.
mattered. Yeah, yeah, it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, it's like I don't care.
So, what do you think about Josh Peck's performance? What do you think about
I was gonna
Devin
mention, I
Bosnick's?
love that Christopher Nolan knows what Roger Rules is. He's named it off the top of his head.
Yeah.
He wasn't even like told it or anything.
Someone was like, "What do you?" Oh, and you have Devin Bosnick or whatever, and he's
From
like,
the
oh.
Wimpy Kid franchise,
He's like,
he's like, oh,
yeah,
Roger Rules.
Let's put a clip
It's
over
pretty
here.
cool. Yeah, but Oppenheimer. What if the Oppenheimer bomb was replaced with like a Minecraft TNT block?
Let's tell him, Mark, dude. Sometimes Mark associates things with the stupidest shit. Sometimes, like for instance, lately we've been getting so many AI covers recommended to us, like so fucking many, and I always love the Mordecai ones like so much. Right now,
They do them really well.
our favorite one's Golden Hours.
It was just two lovers sitting in the car listening to Brahms.
Also,
now.
AI is bad. Don't do it. But
AI,
they're really, really
AI
funny.
is bad, but from what I've seen, the Mordecai ones are my favorite.
Yeah.
They're gonna. I mean, listen. I'm not gonna stop them from being made. You know,
Yeah.
I can't stop them from being made. They're gonna be made anyways. The reason why I started this is because since we've been watching the, Mark pointed out. Yeah, every time I see like AI cover, I just think of this one scene from Family Guy, It's anything. I swear to God, anything I talk about is something. Oh yeah, I know that from Family Guy.
I don't
Yeah.
know the AI covers from Family Guy. It just reminded me of a scene in Family Guy.
That's what I'm saying. It reminds you of Family Guy.
Yeah. I
Tell
watched a lot
him.
of Family Guy as a
Tell,
kid.
tell
I
him.
posted it to Twitter. I think of the.
You did?
Yeah, I did that hours ago.
Oh really?
No, yeah. Anytime I see AI covers, my mind always jumps to the clip from Family Guy where they're singing Journey. They're
Journey,
singing
Don't Stop
Don't
Believin'.
Stop Believin'. And then Adam West is like walking by the bar and they're doing it on karaoke and he's like, oh, what's he saying? Oh, I love this song. And it's even better when amateurs sing the lyrics. And then,
But I hate baseball cards.
and then he runs in. And then, so AI covers always reminds me of that because I told Veronica years ago when we first met. I think I was like I really like in cartoons when they have the characters sing songs because I like hearing
'Cause
the
it's their
cartoon
voice.
characters.
You know
sing
what it was?
the
It was
voice
because we both liked how
School's Out the
School's
Musical.
Out Musical and how Tara Strong sings
as Timmy Turner.
as Timmy, and it's like, oh, it's so much more likable when it's the actual like voice actor singing the songs, even if they can't sing it well.
Yeah, there's like a charm to it.
Yeah, 'cause it's the character
It's
trying.
the character's trying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why I like Mordecai.
that's why I like
singing-
AI covers.
That's
yes,
why I like Mordecai singing shit.
like playing
God.
like Patrick singing Frank Sinatra.
Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars.
He sounds really good.
Patrick one is really good. Do call this episode
Mm-hmm.
Barbie and Oppenheimer our Mordecai Golden Hour AI cover in brackets.
We were in the car.
Yeah, what?
I don't even know the lyrics. I just know the beginning one.
Barbie and Oppenheimer
Oh.
sing Golden Hour.
What is gonna be the thumbnail for this?
It's gonna be Barbie on one side, Oppenheimer on the other side, and in the middle it's gonna be Mordecai in that one pose. Where, you know that one stock fan render where he's like
Where he's
that?
like that, yeah.
Yeah, where it's like not even
Where he's like,
official.
"Oh."
No, I'm thinking of, and it's a photo of Mordecai, and he's kind of like standing up, and it's kind of like a top down shot from up here, and he's like it's trying to look like a Smash Brothers render.
You know what? Go look at Golden Hours. Is that what it was on? Another thing I really liked about Barbie is that Barbie had really, really fun music. Also, Barbie was so high paced. Both Barbie and Oppenheimer were so high paced that throughout the entirety of both films, I was just consistently entertained.
You know what I will say though? So we were talking about this earlier. Everyone right now is like, oh my god, which song is better? The Bowser song from the Mario movie?
You're so cool. And with my star.
Yeah,
Or
or
the
the
Ken
Ken
song.
song.
Cause I'm just Ken. Anywhere else I'd be a 10. Is it my destiny?
And I'm like, they're both
They
just
both
as bad.
are not good.
Yeah. Whenever I didn't want to say this at the time because
Everyone would give a
fucking-
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But the Peaches song
That
from the Mario
Peach-
movie
dude,
is
the-
so
That
terrible.
fucking Peaches song is so fucking lazy.
People just like it because it's Jack Black naming Mario characters.
Yeah,
and
that's
being
all it
goofy.
was.
That's it.
It's just because it's Jack Black. If it
It's
was not
just-
Jack Black and it was any other person as Bowser singing that song, they would not give a
Yeah.
fuck.
And they're like, oh, it's written well. It's like, no, it's not.
It wasn't.
It's all baby rhymes. It literally sounds like this isn't like as an
Peach.
insult, but it literally sounds like he made it up on the spot.
Yes. He made it up like he was like, oh shit, I gotta fucking record this shit for them. Okay, I'll just,
There's-
you know what, I'll just do this.
There's two incredibly short verses, and there's one
Really
chorus
long
that is
chorus
one
that's
word.
repetitive. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then like the Ken one is just like, I am Ken.
I'm just Ken. Where I see love, she sees a friend.
Yeah, I was telling you, it's like a worse
It's just
version of the
baby
Frozen
rhymes.
2 song.
Yes. Yeah, look, this is the Ken song. This is the beginning of the Ken song.
This is 2 seconds of the Ken song.
Doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm on.
Now here's 2 seconds of the Frozen song.
You're gone. Off on a different path than mine.
And did you hear that part? Here's 0.5 seconds of the Ken song.
Always number 2. No one knows how hard I tried.
Oh, here's
And here's
0.5
0.5
seconds of the Barbie's of
The Frozen song.
I'm left behind, wondering if I should follow.
Do you hear that?
You hear
it's
it?
the similar. It's the
Look,
same
look,
song.
wait. Here, one more time, right there.
Yeah, baby rhymes and the dancing, the choreography in the Ken one is so bad. I noticed when I was watching it. I don't know about dancing at all. and I was like, everyone's dancing
They're
out of
off-
sync.
they're
yeah.
off sync,
From the
like-
first song when it's Ken and like the Shang-Chi guy, and they're all like in a row doing it. I'm like, you're all doing it at different speeds.
That scene when they're all dancing together at Barbie's like house or whatever, her Malibu house or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're all like trying to be in unison, but they're so off.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
just,
know.
It feels like it's come up with on the spot.
You can't say it's lazy because it's not
Yeah,
lazy.
that's the thing. I wouldn't care. I didn't care at the time. I only mentioned this today to Veronica. I don't care. It's just that when I see everyone constantly like the Peaches song, I watched it in the Mario movie and I was like, that was really unfunny.
Same.
Then I moved on, and then as the weeks came by,
Everyone.
I went to Universal Studios and people were playing that on their phones.
Literally everybody was obsessed with that fucking
Yeah, and that's only
song.
when I was like, no, this song should not be getting this. It should
So
not get
much-
an Oscar. What the fuck?
Yeah, it should not be nominated for an Oscar, and the Ken song should not be nominated for an
No, it's
Oscar
an insult
either.
to cinema's scores.
Look
Good
at him.
music.
This is one of the most important places in all of North America. Who are you? Who are you? You miserable, presumptuous, no talent.
So, what do you think of Oppenheimer overall?
Oppenheimer, great movie. I would watch it again. I'd put it on in the background too. Cillian Murphy killed it. Robert Downey Jr. great antagonist.
It's so weird seeing all these actors, but they're all gray.
Yeah,
It's weird seeing like Josh Peck being the same age that these actors were in their head.
but he looks older.
He looks older.
And
But at
Matt
the same
Damon.
time, he looks
you know which one
younger.
freaks me out is Matt Damon.
Yeah, he looks really old.
He
in
looks
this
really
movie.
old.
He's got
in this
gray
movie.
hair.
Yeah, I like watched Good Will Hunting for the first time like a couple weeks ago, and then I'm seeing him and like Oppenheimer like the other day, and I'm like, oh.
Well, get fucked, Matt Damon. I only know Matt Damon from the
From Team America.
yeah, Team America. Yeah,
Matt Damon.
yeah. What do they have against him? What would he do?
Nothing. It wasn't it
He was
like
just a
his.
liberal or something like that.
No, wasn't it that his character in Team America had actual lines that were supposed to advance the plot, but his dummy looked so stupid that they just said like got rid of all of his lines and only had him go Matt Damon.
Oh, really?
Isn't that like the biggest like story about that?
I have no idea.
And what did Matt Damon ever do to become this ultimate?
You know, but that's the thing is we don't think about this stuff that much. It's like Matt Damon. He literally the sculpt came out of the oven just kind of looking mentally retarded, and so we're just looking at the puppet and we're sitting there riffing on like just making retarded noises, and it's like that's why he's retarded. I think Matt Damon's a really talented actor, and I've met him before. He's a great guy, and I'm sure he has a sense of humor about it because it's obviously so stupid. He can't really be offended.
So overall, Barbenheimer, this double feature extravaganza, what do you think will be the next Barbenheimer?
I hope there's none.
No?
Yeah, the Barbie Oppenheimer thing was kind of like funny when it's like, oh yeah, they do come out in the same day. And the more it went, and the T-shirts get made, and then I see people in public wearing the T-shirts, and it's like, ugh.
What do you have against the T-shirts? I'm telling Kid Icarus.
Everyone wants to be a part of it.
What's wrong with that? It's like a
It is
celebration of
nice.
consumerism.
It is nice. Yeah, that's the thing is that yeah, there's nothing really wrong with it. It's just the thing where it's like, okay, I've seen enough of this. I can move on. And so if people are
Yeah.
trying to start up with like every fucking movie that comes out, I saw people trying to do it with Saw X and
Paw Patrol, Saw
It's like,
Patrol.
we will be seeing Saw X day one.
Oh
definitely,
yeah, and you
but-
guys are gonna hear. It is what 2 years in the making now? No, a year in the making now.
Yeah, we've been talking about Saw X
Saw
since
review.
the beginning of the podcast.
We literally, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why the Jigsaw is here, guys.
That's why the Jigsaw
Don't you
came because we
understand?
that will be the ultimate culmination of the Jigsaw. We'll have to abandon it after that.
That will be the Jigsaw's burial. Yeah.
We'll have to make
a memorial
a
for it.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to Saw X.
Me too.
Yeah, no, it's like I just don't care. I just don't care about trying to pair up these movies. I'll go see a movie if I'm interested, not because of some fucking dumb social.
Yeah, like the Sound
thing
of
of like,
Music.
oh, you gotta-
I mean, the Sound of Freedom.
Yeah, I was so like, yep, this is exactly
Mark
what I
was
thought it
so
was.
mad.
I was like, well, Veronica, never fall for a TikTok scam.
TikTok trends.
It was the most genius marketing scheme a studio could ever do.
Do you think that was the studio's doing? You think
Yes.
those people on TikTok were paid by the studio?
I've been maybe not that, but I've been seeing people. I think that's dumb TikTok people. Like, oh, the AMC's fucking SE is broke down. They don't want to sing "Sign of Freedom." The bathroom's out of order. They don't want to sing "Sign of Freedom." You know, like no, some
Yeah.
fucking fat dickhead clogged the toilet. Yeah, it's a thing where I've seen a lot of people on Twitter be like, I checked my screenings and they're all like booked out on the website, but
They
I go to it and
were.
there's like no one there.
They were. That was the biggest thing. Was it's the biggest like it's a box office hit technically for them,
100 million.
but nobody is in the theaters
I
watching
think the
it.
studio is buying the tickets to make
See,
it seem.
I was telling Mark before we watched The Sound of Freedom, right before the Christian Blumhouse, it's called Angel. That's like the production company. They were like, they played the commercial or like the trailer for Sound of Freedom right before we watched Sound of Freedom. And it's like, oh, if you want to go see Sound of Freedom for free, like go online and sign up for this thing and we can give you free tickets. So I was like, oh, I bet you they bought a lot of their own tickets.
And they're giving them out.
And they're giving them out so people can go see the movie.
Yeah, so it's just inflating it, and then people go to the empty theater and they're like, "There's a conspiracy here."
You think that attributes to the conspiracy?
Yeah, it's like, what do you think is more likely? This no-name studio wants to build a name for itself, so it artificially inflates the success of its movie to make more people want to see it, in turn, and make more people know of their studio, or every AMC in the fucking country and every other theater all is being contacted by the Sound of Freedom people to all make sure that nobody goes and sees their movie and have AMC artificially block the theater, even though it's like, AMC aren't gonna fucking like that you're not paying them to like do this.
Also, AMC isn't gonna just like perfectly sabotage themselves.
Yeah, they're not gonna be like, okay, we'll turn the SC off so that like, no, the SC probably broke.
And the AC controls probably the entire like cinema, not just the specific theaters.
Yeah, if you think that, you're probably dumb. I'm sorry to break it to you.
Well, we fell for it. And we watched it.
We fell for it. I was entertained.
I showed Mark, and Mark was like, "Oh wow,
my jaw dropped." Yeah,
he was like, "Boing, oing, oing, oing."
Yeah.
This is a problem.
I was like, "Oh well, I'll entertain Veronica just this once."
When I showed Mark the TikTok, he looked at me and went, "This is a very serious TikTok." I'm just Ken. I'm a 10.
So guys,
so lame.
Thanks so much for watching this episode. Barbie, good. I'd recommend seeing
Barbie
it.
was
Oppenheimer,
great.
Good, but you probably might not get a lot out of it.
No, that's not
Depending
true.
on who you are.
Oh, can I just say, here's a spoiler alert. After credit scene of Oppenheimer
It's
is like a
the
Marvel,
dumbest
it's like a
shit
Marvel
ever.
cliffhanger
Yeah,
where it like zooms in. You see Albert Einstein writing something and he gets up and gets a cup of coffee and the camera zooms into the paper and it's him writing an equation and the bottom it says E equals.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, ah!
It's so dumb. It's like, and that's not even related to the fucking bomb.
But then it's like what Christopher Nolan makes like, this is the thing, like what are history, like
the
moments
history cinematic
are like,
universe.
yeah, are like moments in history going to be the new Avengers like timeline. Like we're gonna get biopic after biopic of moments in history. Make
It'll
this
be
movie about
interesting.
Oppenheimer, have a cliffhanger ending with like Albert Einstein. It's just
Yeah, who cares?
Albert Einstein, the hero of the movie.
So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We're gonna be doing fun stuff. We're gonna be playing 5 Nights at Freddy's Ruin. Although that video might be out already by the time this comes out, so go check that out. We're gonna be playing some cool licensed games. I want to play the Fairly Odd Parents one.
I want to play Shrek 2.
Sure.
For the GameCube.
I had Shrek 3, Shrek the Third.
How about the hug? That's the best kind of magic.
Yeah. Okay, we'll end the episode there.